November 4th at North Dakota State. And the following week on November 10th, on that Friday, we wrestle Campbell University here. So that's our first home duel. So anxious to get going, and we have a nice team. So we're ready to get going. So really, questions for me or?
What excites you about the group that you have right now?
Just their togetherness, their unity, their purpose. We got a great culture on our team, and very, very blessed to have that. Just how they compete for each other. We could have had, maybe we probably could have been a trophy team last year going to the last day at the NCAA tournament. Had some unfortunate injuries with Peyton Robb and Brock Hardy, broke his ribs. So the night before. So, but it's they just compete for each other, and it's really good. It's a unified group that is very together, and we got great leadership. Like I mentioned, we have 3 All-Americans and a Big Ten champ coming back. So those guys are really our leaders, and just because they had success is not why they're the leader. They're the leader because of their actions, what they do every day, how they conduct themselves, how they carry themselves, what they do off the mat, how they are student athletes. And so, Brock Hardy, who will be competing next weekend at the U23 World Championships for Team USA in Albania, of all places. And then Ridge Lovett, who's coming off a red shirt, national runner-up, and then Peyton Robb, and then Silas Allred. So those guys are kind of our leaders, and they do a great job. And yeah, I could go on and on about them. So.
With Peyton specifically, how is he? What has his rehab process been like?
So Peyton Robb was, as everyone probably read, was probably on his deathbed or close to, but he just made a miraculous comeback over the summer. Our trainer did an awesome job with him, Dr. Claire, all the doctors there did a super job with Peyton, but he had to have skin graft on both sides of his leg, and his body just regenerated itself. So Tyler thought, well, maybe he'd be back on the mat in August, maybe at the best. Shoot, he was in early July and stronger and better than ever. He's mentally better, meaning he's just a stronger individual. Maybe he's more grateful, but his demeanor and his purpose for wrestling has reached new levels, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And obviously, you talked about Peyton before, just how much you admire him and the toughness that he brings. But just going through that experience, obviously, is traumatic and everything. What did you learn about Peyton through all of that, and just like the type of person he is going through that and coming out the other side?
Well, he's really even-keeled guy. He is that way as a competitor, and when, pressure of life and death situation, he was laying in the hospital 2 days after the NCAA tournament. If I was his parent, his parents were. They were crushed, but, it really just reveals his character and how he is as a person. He didn't panic. He just trusted the doctors, and yeah, a lot of funny little stories about it, but he really withstood the pressure of the moment and just took it day by day and came through and he's better than ever, and he's just very grateful for where he's at, I think.
You got time for one more?
BTN just announced, a number of matches and everything that's going to be on the network, but even beyond just like the primary network, another 80 plus, and Nebraska is going to be well represented through all of that. What does it mean for both Nebraska and wrestling as a whole to see just the continued build of network coverage, both on BTN, Fox Sports, and beyond?
Yeah, it's amazing. It just shows the popularity of our sport. There's a lot of good athletes out there. I mean, in our sport, there's, from 20 years ago when I came here till now, just the athletes themselves, the commitment is insane. It's tremendous, and people notice when they go and watch a match. I mean, not only their athletic ability, but the competitiveness, right? And then I would say wrestling's probably the second highest anxiety sport. UFC, going in the octagon, is probably the highest. But wrestling, being a one-on-one sport, you really reveals how you are as a competitor, not just as an athlete, but as a competitor. That's a big difference. And so I think, people around the country, they recognize, man, this is great. This is a great sport, And so that's why our viewership's been off the charts in the Big Ten. And, we've been asked to be on, they're jamming more matches in, and a little tougher on the student athlete, but we'll adjust. We have to wrestle at 9 or so on. They're doing, double duels and stuff on different nights. So it's good for our sport,
Coach, I mean, with as good as the Big Ten has been historically, I mean, what would you say is the key to being successful in the conference?
Well, I don't really judge success by wins and losses. It's more how we compete. It's more our output, right? What we're bringing to the table, our output more than the outcome, right? So it's more, I think if we compete consistently up and down the lineup, that's what we're looking for. We have some really good guys, and so. But so does Penn State, so does Iowa, so does. There's so many. There's a lot of good teams, so you can never take a night off, like volleyball, football. I mean, so on. So, you have to be on your A game, and so just looking for that consistency from 125 all the way through to heavyweight. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, real quick.
Yeah.
James Green's on your staff.
Yeah.
You've had Jordan.
Yes.
One of your coaches. How do you get these guys to come back and work for you and with you?
Yeah. James Green's great. He's going to be James semi-retired a couple of years ago because he had 2 hips replaced. Okay, he's a 29-year-old man that he had hip problems even in college, and he wants to continue to wrestle through 2028, and so he's making a comeback that way. But then when Robert Kokish left, it just made a spot for James not to only just train, but to coach. And he was the national development coach at USA Wrestling. So he coached all the U23, U20, U16 teams worldwide. So he's done a great job, and he did that for a couple of years. So he loves coaching and really wants to give his heart that way. And then as a competitor, it just makes sense. And it's a blessing to have him and Chandel and the girls back, and one good family. So, yeah, thanks, guys.